So the first thing I would do, and I like to do this a lot when I'm practicing and things feel out of sorts, is even just in my warm-up, I'll take a towel, wrap it under the upper part of my arms, and even just hit little half swings, 5 to 10 shots to start my practice. And what that does is keeps my upper arms on my body, keeps things more connected, and allows my body to control the motion. Hey guys, only 3 days left until our prices go up at CogornoGolf.com. If you want to work with myself and our team at CogornoGolf.com, we would love to have you. And I want to make sure you're aware of this so you can get in on these lower prices. Currently, our prices are $69 a month, $495 for the year, so you get a nice little discount with the yearly. Those are going to go up to $89 a month and $595 per year. But if you sign up before July 15th, you get our current lower prices and you lock those prices in. So long as you remember, your prices will never go up. So I want you to jump on this. If you've been thinking about getting coaching, ready to take your game to the next level, you want feedback on your swing, priorities, a plan, right? Go to the range and actually practice the things that are going to make you better. Myself, our coaches, our team can help you do that. Get access to those feedback. You get all of my practice plans, the access to the community. We're in there literally every day talking, answering questions, and a new little added bonus. We do a live weekly seminar where I'm in there every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for an hour talking with the members. We'd love to have you at CogornoGolf.com. We'll put the link down below. All right guys, so in today's video, we have a question from Mr. Sam Lee from Instagram. Hey Eric, have any drills for tightening up the backswing, particularly the irons? I've been getting caught up with all this unnecessary movement in transition. Thanks. So Sam, tightening up the backswing, getting rid of unnecessary movement, certainly have drills. I got a couple of good things to keep in mind. I think most often when the backswing gets a little loose, what happens in the simplest sense is the arms and hands get disconnected from the body motion, right? If we try and think about the most efficient way to swing a club possible, even though it's not technically 100% true, the idea is that I want to have my body turning, my arms and hands moving about at the same rate on the way back, on the way down, on the way through. So basically, like when my body stops turning back, my arms stop going. Again, that's not quite accurate, but just to paint a picture. And then as I start turning through, my arms start turning through, and my arms and hands kind of stay in front of my body the whole time, right? That's the idea. So when someone feels loose, disconnected, sort of unjointed at the top, the first thing I'm looking at is where are their arms relative to the body and how do we get them better? And then the second thing I would look at would be the wrist angles. You know, the only other thing that I see a lot of times at the top in terms of the arms and hands would be overhinging, right? Over cupping of the left wrist, overhinging the wrist, maybe the arms overfold, they get too disconnected. So when we look at a connected swing, I'm just going to pull up an example here for us from the face on. If I look at what I would consider a connected backswing, let's just get this recording for us. This example would be what I would call pretty good here. So we take him up to the top. That'd be a pretty connected backswing motion, right? So that's his arms and hands, you know, to the left of where his body's at, for instance. So the arms and hands are, you know, we'll say behind where his body is. The arms are still nicely extended. The wrist angles haven't overhinged, right? This angle stays close to 90. So that would be what we would look at when I would say, hey, that's what we're going for. Now the question is, what do you need to feel to be able to get it to that point? And so we're assuming that the arms and hands are going too far, the wrists are hinging too much, or the arms are overbending. Those are the assumptions I'm gonna make with like a neutral body movement pattern. So there's a lot of things we could do here. I would say the easiest thing to get things tightened up would be an oldie, which would be a towel under my arms. So the first thing I would do, and I like to do this a lot when I'm practicing and things feel out of sorts, is even just in my warm-up, I'll take a towel, wrap it under the upper part of my arms, and even just hit little half swings, 5 to 10 shots to start my practice. And what that does is keeps my upper arms on my body, keeps things more connected, and allows my body to control the motion. So there's just kind of a, you know, we'll call those little half ones. So on my 8-iron there, let's say compared to normal, I'll probably hit that, let's see, yeah, so 145 yards there. So, I normally hit that about a 160 number. So it's, a little bit off, half to 3/4 swing. And I want to get it all the way up on my arms. It doesn't need to be like way down my arms, just the top part. And just going halfway back, halfway through, and learning how to get my body controlling the motion and not have my arms and hands get disconnected. Now, if you're used to your arms and hands, at the top especially, doing a lot of action, this will feel like your arms and hands are kind of dead weight, more like they're along for the ride, and the body, your rib cage, your core, your chest, your shoulders, is the piece that's moving it. So as my body moves back, my hands stay, not in front of me this way, but in front of me from this perspective. And the same thing on the way through. I feel like as my hands go, my body goes, right, both ways. One more with the glove under, or the towel rather. So that would be option number one that I would start with. Someone says, hey, I want to get more connected, take some necessary movement out. I would put the towel under. Now, there's a couple different options that work essentially the same as the towel. That would include simply taking 2 tees. So if you've got the arms running on, you can grab 2 tees, put one underneath each armpit, and this would serve basically the same thing as the towel, just a little less restrictive. It keeps the upper arms on the body. So put the tees under the armpits, squeeze them together, and same thing, feel like your body is generating the motion, and that'll keep things just a little bit more connected. That'll do the same thing. So tees under. Instead of the tees, you can grab a secondary glove and do the same thing. So we could get a glove underneath your lead arm or a glove underneath your trail arm, and those would help with the same pieces. So if I put a glove underneath my lead arm, that's going to get rid of any excessive upward motion. That'll help with some depth, keep my left arm on my chest on the way back and down. So that'll also clean up some excessive motion. Glove underneath the left arm. That helps with the depth pieces the most. And then I could go glove underneath my right arm. So if you're someone who goes back and the right arm gets overly internal or gets way off your body too much and you want to get rid of that and have a more neutral trail arm look, you would put the glove underneath your right arm. I feel like that squeezes that against the upper part of your torso, and that would keep that right arm much more neutral. So for me, my right arm can get a little bit away from me or behind me. The glove under the right armpit would be a nice neutral feel for that. Or you can put gloves under both armpits, right? So the towel, the glove under the left, glove under the right, the tees in, all these pieces, yeah, it's real nice for me. All these pieces will help keep things tighter at the top just to get the look, right, of what we look like there with the Grant video. Now another option here, a couple other ones, would be obviously a tour striker ball. So an object that you would take that you could put between your arms would serve the same thing. Or if you don't have one of those, you could grab a range bucket, which would serve the same principle here. So this bucket, right, I can put this right in the middle of my chest and squeeze this together with my biceps. And I actually, from there, this is the one that really forces me to get my torso turning and have some better width. So now with the bucket version, I would only hit like 100-yard shots to start with. And that's a piece that really gets you moving, especially if you're not used to having your body move on the way through. So that's a bunch of different options: towel, tees, gloves, smart ball, bucket. So that's 5 options to kind of do the same thing. This bucket really forces the width, whereas the towel and those other versions will keep the arms closer to your body, more connected. I don't think every single person needs that, but if you feel like you're too loose and sort of too long, or whatever the case may be with your arms, I would do one of those, maybe the towel, maybe the bucket, and just do that as your warm-up to start your practice. Now, the second thing that I would recommend has more to do with swing length. Again, assuming the arms are over bending, the wrists are over hinging, something like that's off. Most times you need to feel like your backswing's wildly shorter and you start your downswing wildly sooner. So we did a video on starting your transition sooner. This is essentially the same thing. We do a little 2-ball practice set on Cogorno Golf with this. It works like a charm. If you normally swing and you're like way up here, you need to feel like your backswing only goes like hip high, and then you start your downswing. So here's how it works. This would be another way to tighten things up. Ball number 1, go back what feels like halfway back and through what feels like halfway through, maybe hip high or just above hip high. kind of hip high, or halfway back, halfway through. So you're just hitting like a little half one. So I hit that probably 120 yards. Now on the second one, I'm gonna go halfway back. In fact, let's see how far that was. So that was 103, so I hit that 103 yards. Now on this next one, I'm gonna go hip high back, full follow through. The point being that my backswing is gonna be way shorter and my downswing is gonna start sooner. If you wanna get rid of excessive movement at the top of your backswing, you wanna start your downswing sooner. So hip high back, full follow through. And everyone asks me, hey, when I do that, isn't it gonna go way shorter than normal? Well, let's see how far I hit that. Now I hit this normally 160. I hit that ball, let's see, 155.9. So I hit that 4 yards shorter than my normal, and it felt like my backswing only went hip high. Now how I'm able to do that is because from there, I'm creating motion as efficient as possible. It's all lower body, it's all athletic motion. I get all that good stuff for free. So I would warm up with something to tighten it up, and then after that, I would do something like this to actually take the motion literally out, like literally get rid of your swing. So hip high, little half one to start, just neutral tempo. And again, that's about $120. Now on this next one, same length backswing, ramp the speed up and go all the way to the full follow through. So hip high back, full follow through. Now that one there I even missed, but I bet that's still gonna be 150 plus yards. I hit that even thin. So when you record yourself, the goal would be to look like the Grant picture. But again, you might need to feel like you stop here. Right? Even my swing, when you look at how far it actually went, I guarantee it went farther than I felt. So that would be how I would phase this. You want to tighten up your, and actually that went 157, 157.7. So it even still went farther. So I could hit it even farther than that. You're gonna grab those screenshots. So I would look at tightening up my backswing as a two-phase thing. Sam, depending upon what your issue is, I might just put the glove under left, just the glove under right, do the towel, and then do this. And the only other piece to keep in mind would be your wrist angles. So if you are going up to the top and you overhinge your wrist and your wrist gets too cupped like this, then you need to do something to take some of the hinge out. That'd be the only other factor here I'd look at, which can be the Watson hanger. This would be like my favorite wrist angle trainer. So for you, you would need to feel like this stays on your left wrist at the top. So your wrist will feel more flat here at the top compared to it being cupped and long. It'll feel flat in this way. The more you bow your left wrist, the more you take hinge out. So the more you bow it, the less hinge you'll have. So if you need to feel like you bow your left wrist a little, take a little hinge out of there at the top, you can do that. If you don't have a hanger, you can use a plastic hanger, and I'll leave you with this, and put it on the side. Notice when I start, the hook's above my arm here. When I hinge, it goes down my arm. You want to just feel like the hook stays above your forearm. So it stays above my forearm. Stays above my forearm. Instead of, see how, if it rides down my forearm, that would be the excessive hinging. I want to keep it above my forearm. So you've got the arms relative to the body, you've got the hinging, and then you have the overall swing length. So start your practice with one of those, do the shortening up piece, check the hinge pieces. If you guys like these style videos, you want to send your question, I could answer them, answer you specifically and shout you out. Leave a question in the comments down below. We're going to pick a couple every week to do similar videos like this. If you do want to send your questions in and get more detailed answers, have us look at your swing and build you a plan. We'd love to have you at CogornoGolf.com. We'll put that card here on at the end along with a card with a similar style video. Appreciate you guys watching.